Well, I want to, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. I think Charlie called me, I don't remember when, and said, Glenn, I want you to join me in the universities. And I'm like, are you insane? No, I don't do that, Charlie. You do that, I don't do that. And he said, no, you don't have to. We're going to put 2 chairs, and I'm going to sit in one, and I'll take all the questions. You just teach history. Thanks, Charlie. I hope I have something of value to share with you today. I have a few things. There's probably about $5 million worth of artifacts on the table behind me. I want to teach you some history that you're not being taught in school. And you can argue with me all you want, but there are the documents. So how are you going to argue? Make sure you bring some of these things up in classes. I also wanted to start with some things that I have personally learned that I think might be helpful as you start your journey. I'm a recovering alcoholic. My mother died when I was 13 years old. She committed suicide. We've had 3 suicides in my family. I contemplated suicide when I was younger. It was kind of a family thing that just made sense. Suicide and suicidal thoughts, if anybody has had them, you are under the grip of a really powerful lie, and your life is worth living. And once you conquer that demon, life just gets better and better and better. But when I was really young, I knew what I was going to do, and I believe I heard a prompting from the Lord when I was 8. And the Lord said to me, what you do in life will be a turning point. And I didn't know what that meant. I was 8 years old. But I knew I was going to be in radio. So I started doing radio. I got into radio when I was about 13. And I have been doing it now for, this is my 49th year of doing broadcast. And because I didn't understand the Lord early on like I do now, I thought I was supposed to do something great in the industry. And I was very successful very young, and I made a lot of money when I was very young. And that is a very bad combination: fame, fortune, and 20 years old. And every time I would make the next milestone, it wasn't it. And I was more and more empty every step of the way until I reached my 30s, and I was an alcoholic. No one would work with me because I was an angry alcoholic, and I had a lot of things that I had not dealt with. So I want to tell you some of the things that I have learned in my journey, because once I fixed those things, once I dealt with those things, once I found out who I really was, not what I thought I was supposed to be, nothing else, just who I really truly was, everything changed overnight. So let me start. I wrote down 9 things that I think are true and will shape you into the person you were born to be. Number 1, question everything. Everything. Anyone who tells you, don't ask that question, run from them. Question everything. Thomas Jefferson said in a letter to his nephew, Peter Carr. Peter Carr was young, his mother had died, then his father is on his deathbed, and he asked Thomas Jefferson, Thomas, you're the smartest man I know. Could you please help my son in his educational upbringing? So when Peter became of age, he wrote him this long letter, and he said, in mathematics, you have to do this. In literature, you have to read this. You have to speak these languages. I love this one. Never read a book outside of its native language. You will miss too much. The last one was religion. And he said, when it comes to religion, above all things, fix reason firmly in her seat, and question with boldness even the very existence of God. For if there be a God, he must surely rather honest questioning over blindfolded fear. That changed my life. That gave me permission to question everything. I no longer had to feel stupid. I never had to feel guilty for questioning God. I remember I read that and I thought, you know what, God, I don't really know you. I know you because of what I have been taught. I know you because of what everybody has told me. I know you through church. I know you through the Bible, but I don't really know you. I don't know if any of this is true. So I'm going to question with boldness, and I'm going to start here. I don't believe in you. I don't reject you. But if you are my Father in heaven, you have built this entire system, so I will find you. I imagined if it were me and I'm a dad, and my children had to find me on their own to have real meaning and purpose. If I built a room and it was a round room and it didn't look like there were any doors or windows, it was just this round room, that's all they ever knew, everything I put in that room would point to me. I would send them every possible sign I exist. I'm on the other side of this wall. So if my heavenly Father exists, there's signs everywhere. Where are they? What are they? I had the library of a serial killer. I probably in a 10-year period, I think I read about 7,000 books. And I read everything. Charlie probably read more than I did. I read everything. And I went into bookstores and I would look at who would disagree with each other. I put a council together. Who was on the exact opposite side? Carl Sagan, Pope John Paul, Alan Dershowitz, Adolf Hitler. Who is on the opposite side? And then I would read the extremes and then I would narrow it in. My father told me, you have to look at all of your knowledge. You look at it as if everything's a transparency. And you look down through everything. Where they intersect, that's truth. Where everyone is saying the same thing, that's truth. Because they don't agree with each other, but on that one thing, they do. And then just assemble it. I will tell you, the intellectual side of me, I believed in God, but that's not what changed me. It was when, I went to Yale for about 15 minutes. And I took early Christology. And let me tell you, if you ever want to find Christ, don't go to Yale. But I went and I understood what early Christology is the making of the image of Jesus Christ from about 400 BC to about 400 AD. And so I knew what everything was. I studied all that time period, how this was all put together. And by the time I got out of school, I was like, I don't believe any of that. Then I found a woman who wanted to marry me. And she was a fabulous woman. She loved me. I honestly felt like at that time I was still struggling, holding my alcoholism at bay. And I felt like I was a black hole, and she had so much light, and I felt like I was stealing light from her. I could feel that light from her bend into me. And I told her that. We were standing in the kitchen, and I had my arms around her, and she was facing out. We were looking out a window. And I said, I have to tell you something. I have to be honest. I'm stealing light from you. Without hesitation, she said, you can't steal that which is being given. I immediately thought, I have got to marry this woman. So I proposed, and she said no. And I'm like, but you could have all this whenever you wanted it. So she said, no. And I said, why? And she said, because we don't have faith in common. I said, I know God. I studied God. I went to Yale. I studied God. She said, uh-huh. She said, we have to have a faith that we both can agree on, that we both can come back. Because if we don't have God as our center, nothing will hold. So we went on what we called the church tour. Every week we would go to a different church, and we went to crazy. I went to synagogue one Saturday. I thought that was great because you were in on Saturday, you have Sundays free. I don't speak Hebrew, so I didn't get a lot from the service, but we went to one church. It was a congregational church. Halfway through the sermon, and I swear to you this is true, halfway through the sermon, the preacher said, now you all know that I don't believe in God, but I looked at my wife and she said, what did he just say? And I said, I think he just said I don't believe in God, but if there be a God, we should serve him. Oh, well, I think you should put that out on the sign in the front of the church. Our preacher doesn't believe in God. We went to every place, and we finally ended up at a church that I swore I would never become a member of, because it's a drag. We can't drink coffee. We're not supposed to swear. Don't watch rated R movies. You're supposed to be nice all the time. So there's no way I'm joining this church until I met a man who, to my shame, I called the amazing Mr. Plastic Man, because he was happy all the time. Oh, I just love Jesus, and he makes me and my plastic family happy. And I'm like, give it a rest, dude. First time I met him, walked into the church and he said, brother, I just love you. I'm so glad. And I wanted to vomit on him. And I'm like, give it 15 minutes, that'll wear off. 6 months go by, and I take the one thing from Scripture. Prove me now. Prove me. Test me. Prove it. I invite you. I'm sitting in this lesson, and here comes the amazing Mr. Plastic Man. And he's going to teach a class on this concept of Zion. What is Zion? Zion is this amazing, it's utopia. It's when we all, through our love of Christ, we just all come together and we share, and we're communist, I think. But it's all through the love of Christ, and it's all through choice. And he said, brothers, how do we get there? I didn't have any idea. Others had some ideas. Nothing really made sense. And then a tear went down his cheek, and he said, there's only one way. There's only one way. If I love you and you love me, I love you and you love me, I love you and you love me, we may not know each other. We may not agree with each other. We may not like each other. But we know who we are, and you are my brother, you are my sister, and I love you. And I will never abandon you, because we have that bond. At that moment, I didn't care if I had to drink chicken blood in the basement. That's who I wanted to be. God wants you to find him. He wants you to find him. He is your Father. So question everything. And try not to, stop trying to win. Stop trying to win. Okay, that's not why we're talking to each other. Why do we always try to win with one another? I got to beat you. I've got a better answer than you do. You're wrong, I know it. Try to understand people. Don't try to argue with them. Just say, wow, I don't know how you got there. Can you take me through your thinking? When did you start believing this? What made you think that? Because quite honestly, the minute you stop thinking somebody has something to teach you, you're an arrogant monster. I can't learn anything from you. All of you people believe this, so I don't even want to talk to you. I don't need to talk to you. Are you kidding me? Those are the people I want to talk to. Because those are the people I can learn something from. Even if it's just empathy. Something we sorely lack in today's world. The second, the truth will set you free. I love Ephesians, where you're supposed to put on the full armor of God. The helmet of salvation. When I got into the waters of baptism, I needed that salvation. I needed, for all the things that I had done in my life, all of the wrongs that I had done, I needed somebody else to carry them because they were crushing me. And so I proved him. You promise me, if I live my life the way you tell me to live my life, if I'm always doing what you ask me to do, you will take this from me. And he did. And my life changed overnight. I don't know what the truth is about you that you have running in your head. But it's probably not very good. We all have these things. Oh, if people only knew, if people only knew what I thought or what I did, or I'm not good enough, I'm a fraud, whatever it is. That's a lie. Maybe somebody in your life has been telling you that crap. Turn that off. Turn that off. You are a divine daughter and son of God with all of the rights and privileges that go with that. You are equipped with everything you need. Don't let anyone tell you somebody stands in your way. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. The system is rigged against you. I am a son of God. I have everything I need. Third is choose your thoughts. Man, choose your thoughts. My father said one time, I was probably 17 years old, and we got into some fight. I don't even remember what it was about. And I just wanted to hurt him, I just wanted to win. And I was like, yeah, well, I'll never be like you. And you know what he said to me? Good. I am so glad to hear you say that. I was like, but you, he said to me, but you better find a model. You better find a father you want to be like. You better be very careful, because I've put all of these images of what a dad is in your head. And if you don't choose to be different and know what you're choosing, I promise you, son, you will be exactly like me. Choose your thoughts. What is the name of God in the Bible? When he goes to Moses, who shall I say sent me? I am that I am. The most powerful words in any language is I am. Be careful what you follow that with. I am what? A loser? I'm weak. I'm pathetic. I'm a fraud. No, you are not. But you will be that because you're invoking the power of God. I am blank. Choose your thoughts. Choose what you follow I am with carefully. Be mindful of what you think. You have about 85,000 thoughts today. What? They're in there all the time going. You're thinking all kinds of stuff. Why would you say, I'm fat, I'm ugly? Why wouldn't you say, I'm getting healthier every day? I'm unique and beautiful in my own way. Why would you let the world tell you who you are? You are the only one that decides that. Life doesn't happen to you. Are you to be acted upon, or are you somebody that acts? I'm not going to be acted upon. I'm not a slave. I'm not a thing. I'm a thinking human being. I act. I create. I am. 4, you will serve something in your life. Guarantee it. You will serve something. And that service might be money, might be fame, might be addiction, might be sex, whatever it is, might be God. But if you don't choose what you serve, if you don't say, this is the most important thing to me, this is my line, I serve this, again, it will be filled in by life. And you will end up serving false gods. Choose your master, because if you don't, a master will choose you. 5, forgiveness is essential. Without forgiveness, everything else falls apart. But it's not only essential, it's crippling hard. I can't tell you. There's lots of people I'm like, I gotta forgive you. It's crippling hard. But it's harder to forgive yourself most times. You gotta let that go. Give that to him. Let it go. The past is the past. Helmet of salvation. He is saving you. He's redeeming you. Why is it a helmet? Because it's what's going on in your head all the time. It's not real. It's yesterday, but it's eating you alive in your head. Put on the helmet of salvation. Do not let those thoughts come into your mind. When that happens, your life changes. Forgiveness is hard. Forgiving Charlie Kirk's killer, when I saw Erica do that, that's hard. But most likely forgiving yourself is harder, because you will see the humanity in someone else, hopefully. You will see the pain or the struggle or whatever it is in somebody else, but you won't give yourself that credit. Give that to yourself. 6, discipline is freedom. I said to you, I have a lot of pastor friends and I can speak at churches and they'll always let me speak. And they don't do that a lot of times with people from different religions, but I had a really honest pastor friend of mine. I said, I can't believe you let me speak here. And he's like, Glenn, nobody wants to go to your church. You're welcome. Nobody's leaving after you talk to join yours. I said, thank you. Discipline is freedom. My church is really hard. We got a lot of rules, okay? But I needed that framework. I didn't have that discipline. I didn't have the discipline I needed. I needed framework that said, serve your fellow man. And here's how you're going to do it. Tithe. And here's what you need to do. I needed that discipline. Because what I found is it's actually very freeing. You stop lying and you're the freest person in the world. When I was at Fox, they were investigating me. Fox was. I had everybody investigate me. Everybody. At one point, we had people going through our garbage at my house, looking at everything. And I was totally cool with it because I wouldn't have been 10 years ago, but I found Christ, I let it all go, and I announced it on the air. You don't even know what I've done. Here's what I've done, and I vomited out on the air. I got that poison out. So I had already told my audience who I was, so what are you going to find on me? Because I know I'm not doing anything bad now. You're going to dig up some skeleton in my closet? Ooh, I've already told my audience about it. That scared the daylights out of them. But when you know who you are, and you can look somebody in the eye and say, investigate all you want, they're terrified of you. Because they know they have no power over you. You never lie. You never cheat. You never steal. You know who you are. No one can trap you. And they freak out. I was sitting in a meeting with the head, at that time, Roger Ailes, head of Fox News, and I knew they had been investigating me. And I called into his office, and he's sitting there behind his desk like an evil warlord. And I said, Roger, how are you? And he said, have a seat. I sat down, and he said, you know, a lot of people want to know the skeletons in your closet. I said, I know. He said, a lot of people are investigating you. I said, I know. He reached down and he picked up a stack of files, okay, about this big. He put it right on his desk, right in front of him and between me. And then he pet it like a James Bond villain. You know, a lot of people want to know about you. I'm thinking, there's nothing in those files. And I said, I know that. Then he looked at me and he said, you know, it's always a shame. You have a wonderful wife. The hair stood up on my neck. I leaned into his desk and I said, yes, I do. And he said, it's always a shame when a man does something and hurts a woman like that. I looked him in the eye, I leaned into the desk and I said, I know. And that's why that has never happened. And I stared him in the eye, and we were like in the third grade for a minute. Here's the pinnacle of television news. I'm sitting next to the guy who created network television news. I'm looking him in the eye, and it's like we're in the third grade. We're having a stare-down contest. And I know the rule, the first person to look away loses. So I'm not looking away, I'm not blinking. I'm like, I won. He looked away. But that could not have happened. That could not have happened if I hadn't have done these things. If I hadn't had the discipline to know exactly who I am. Find your own framework. Keep pictures of heroes, real heroes. Charlie Kirk should be on your desk or in your backpack, wherever you are, in your car, wherever you are making decisions. Find 5 people that inspire you, that you want to be more like, and keep them in front of you. People from the past or the present, people that you know made the right decision in the hard times. Because there's going to come a time when you get up on the phone and somebody's going to say, hey, you want to do this? Hey, why don't you compromise here? Why don't you do this? And you need to have the strength and the courage to look right at your counsel and know exactly, nope, not doing that. Find strength in heroes from the past. Discipline is freedom. Work. Let me tell you a story about Charlie Kirk. I meet 1 million people all the time who say, I want to have your job. Usually what they're saying is, I want the fame or I want the fortune. And I'm like, you can have that. It's battery acid to the soul. Really, you want my job? Yeah. Well, I'll help you any way I can. If you want an intern or you want a mentorship, I'm willing to do that. No. Nobody finishes. Nobody's willing to actually put in the work. You're not paid what you're paid because you kind of phone it in. You only succeed when you are doing everything all the time, and you are focused and you're disciplined and you work hard and you finish what you start. When that happens, the whole world changes. Charlie Kirk at 17 came to me and said, I want to be like you. I want your job. What he was really saying is, I want to be like Rush Limbaugh. He didn't want to be me. He wanted to be Rush Limbaugh. And I said, well, maybe. Let's see what you do. And I watched him. This is the first time I have said this. My life is changing next year. I'm changing a lot of things in my life. I was grooming Charlie to replace me. Charlie was replacing me next year. He didn't know that, because I wanted to save it to him as a surprise. I've watched you. You've surpassed me. You have worked so hard. You've done everything you're supposed to do. I haven't seen anyone like you. I will turn my radio, my internet, whatever you need over to you because you deserve it. I'm telling you, work hard. People who are successful will see it, and you'll rocket to the top. Faith is for realists. Number 7, faith is for realists. You have faith because you're a realist. You have faith. You get up every day. You know that flaming orb in the sky is going to be there tomorrow morning because it comes up every day. You know it. You have faith that it's going to come up. What do you really, truly have faith in that maybe you don't fully understand? It's not blindness. I talked to Erica. I believe Charlie knew. I believe Charlie knew. They were with their pastor the night before. But Charlie wasn't afraid because Charlie had faith. Charlie had the faith that if I'm doing what I'm asked by the Lord to do, it will all be fine. And it doesn't mean that it works out for you in the end, but it works out for God. Because Charlie was so faithful, because he worked so hard, because he built what he built in the name of God, somebody comes in and takes him out. And look what God has done with that. I think of you often. I pray for you every day. And I pray that you will see how he lived his life, and see the impact that he made. He would not have made this impact if he sloughed off, if he slept in, if he didn't do the work. The guy was in his early 30s. He's Thomas Jefferson. He's Martin Luther King. He's in his 30s. I'm 62. I haven't accomplished what he has. The Lord has plans for you, but you must do your part. And you always know when it's God telling you to do something. At least I found, because it's always something you go, oh crap, no, I don't want to do that. Please, that's going to make me a pariah. That's too hard. I can't do that. Do it. Do it every time. Gratitude changes everything. It doesn't erase the hardship. It doesn't. But failure is fertilizer. It's fertilizer for something great that is about to grow. If you have faith that I know if I do what I'm supposed to do, it's all going to work out, it will. It will. It may not take you where you want to be or where you think you're going. But as long as you're checking with him all the time, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Is this right? Is this where you want me? Is this where you want me? He may tell you to do some things and it doesn't work out and you're like, wait, you just told me to do that. No, but you put in your head what that was supposed to look like in the end. I'm putting you in a position of where I need you to be. And I guarantee you in your life, you will look back on some of the hardest things you've ever done, and you'll look back and go, that was actually a really good time. Because it's those days that you grow. It's those days where you really learn, where you're struggling so hard just to keep your head above water. That's your forge. That's when you strengthen your steel. That's when you know who you are. Because you've been tested. Go to sleep. When you go to sleep, do two things and it'll change your life. When you go to sleep tonight, and when you wake up in the morning, just quickly name two things you know are true about God. Two things you know absolutely are true about God. God loves me, and there's forgiveness. I could start all over tomorrow, and I know it's true, because he's promised that's true. Then, two things you're grateful for. Gratitude changes everything. If we had more gratitude in life, we wouldn't be shivving each other because you got more of that than I do. Who cares? In the end, it ain't about the stuff. It's really not. And I know it seems easy for me to say that because it is easy for me to say that. Because I'm at the place in my life where you will be someday. And you will realize, oh man, all that stuff I used to worry about, all that stuff that I thought was important, none of that is important. It's just who you are. Your relationship to God. That changes everything. Gratitude. Instead of saying, I'm so mad that so-and-so. Gratitude. My father taught me this once. I was 28. And my father was so patient with me. And I called him up. My father was a baker. And I call him up at work, and I'm like whining. Dad, this is not working out the way it's supposed to. And I've just really been screwed my whole life. And my father was so patient. And he was like, you know what? You make a good point. You really have, thinking back now, you really have had a tough life, Glenn. You really have. I'm like, right. See, you get it. Like it started with mom's suicide, right? And then there was this, and then there was that. And he's like, wow, Glenn, you know what? You're right. Listen, I have some bread in the oven right now. I got to pull it out. But this is an important conversation. Would you do me a favor? I want you to call me tonight. But when you hang up the phone, I want you to make a list of at least 10 things where you've gotten the shaft. Where life has been really unfair. Just make a list of 10 things and then call me tonight. So I did. I'm like, see, my dad is so smart. He knows me. And I start writing. First thing, my mother's suicide. I don't remember what the number 2 and number 3, but by the time I got to number 3, That one was related to my mother's suicide, but that number 3 had something positive that came out of it. And then I started going up and I looked at number 1 and I'm like, but if my mom hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have moved here, which means I wouldn't have met that person, which means I wouldn't have done this. I realized everything works out. If you just let it go, everything works out. I call my dad back. Phone rings, he picks it up. You don't have any bread in the oven, do you? He laughed and he said, wow, you're smarter than I thought you were. There is no such thing as bad things. It's what you do with it. It's what you're going to do with Charlie Kirk's death. You had a choice. Choose death, choose anger, choose vengeance, or choose life. Choose charity. Choose peace. Choose forgiveness. And look how you've already changed the world. There is no such thing as bad if you make the choice to see the good that can come from it. And last one, community is oxygen. A community is oxygen. You cannot be online all the time by yourself. You must have people around you. And it's not just for you. One of your jobs has to be give permission to your friends, people that you meet, give them permission to have hope. It's easy for you to see the good in other people that they refuse to see in themselves. There's nothing better. Franklin was asked, what is the American religion? He said, the American religion is, there is a God, he will judge us. The best way to serve God is to serve our fellow man. That's the American religion. So serve, because that's the only thing that matters. When you get out of yourself and you start seeing the needs in others and you want to serve them, your whole world changes. And because your world changes, and my world changes. That's how we change the world, one person at a time. Thank you.